What is up, everyone? It is an exciting day because we have 7.26a. A lot of changes to the meta heroes and items that were very popular, as well as a lot of movement speed boot changes. But whatever, let's get into the video. I'm going to be discussing what I think has changed, what heroes are good now based on this patch. I also want to ask you guys a very important question. Do you want to know what's going inside the head of a 7k MMR player? Or, you know, things that even 7k MMR players need to improve on? I recently coached a top 15 player, someone who reached top 15. I'm not kidding. Literally top 15. I coached him and I posted that content over on the main gameleap website. If you want to see what I have to say about his gameplay and how I helped him improve in his Dota venture, go click the link down below. It's legitimately extremely cheap. I'm not kidding. It's like $8 a month. That's it. You go down below, click the link, and you're going to be able to get a ton of content. I mean, after all, what better do you have to do right now? I personally have nothing better to do besides create more content, and that's exactly what I'll be doing over there. So hopefully you guys check it out. And I'll see you there. Alright, so hopping right into it, we only have one general change, and it's a pretty general change. XP bonus for kill streaks has been reduced. So once again, kill streaks are worse, right? So when you kill someone with a kill streak, it doesn't really matter as much now. They reduced the gold by 50% last patch, and they're once again slowing down Dota. And I think that's sort of what we're seeing also with these item changes. Every single boot is no longer a percentage-based change. So I think what it means here is that boots are maybe about the same, maybe slightly better, you guys could correct me in the comments, in the early game, but 100% they are worse later on, because when you've built up movement speed from items such as Windlace and maybe Drums auras and things like this, then the percentage definitely becomes better. So this is a long-term nerf, and once again, slows down Dota, which seems to be the theme of the game. In fact, I want to know whether or not you guys agree or disagree with me in the comments, as well as if you agree, like the video, because my boss is the YouTube algorithm, and what would I do without all of your likes? I really do appreciate it. I'm not kidding. But moving on, every single one of these boots was reduced from 15% movement speed to 45, and the phase boots active was reduced from 22 to 20. So overall, a movement speed nerf. Tranquil boots, a little bit different, right? They were obviously made you much quicker when active. Even inactive, they made you quicker, which is why I think Tranquil Boots were so popular. I felt like I was seeing Tranquil Boots on like every single position for Tusks, Clockworks, everyone. And now it's 75 movement, which is still super high, right? You still get 75 movement speed when they're active, and I expect this boot to stay very popular. Moving on ahead, I mean, I could read all of these movement speed changes off, but all you guys need to know was that it was changed from percentages to a flat number for all types of boots. However, items like Yasha were changed to a percentage-based movement speed. So Yasha is now 8% flat, and obviously that applies to Manta style. It's 10% in Sanjin Yasha, and also 10% in Yasha and Kaya, the Trident as well, but who cares about the Trident? I mean, will that really come into play? Also a slight Drums nerf, only going down by 1%. I would say relatively inconsequential. It was part of the boots change, apparently. Now, getting to the most notable change of the patch, I would definitely argue this is number one for me, and that is the Spirit Vessel change. So what I notice about this change is now it makes Spirit Vessel a negative aura. So Spirit Vessel is not an item you cast on people. In fact, I'm a little bit confused on what you do with the charges. I suppose they only heal now, or you can put them on people for damage? Guess we'll have to figure out, and I could test it in the lobby at some point. But yeah, it provides a negative aura that reduces health regen, heals, and lifesteal by 20% in a 1200 AoE. And then on top of that, okay, I take it back, guys. The soul release debuff regen has been reduced. So when you use it on someone, it is now 35% only. But what this means is that the item is still fine though, because if I'm reading this correctly, the 20% will stack with the 35%, giving you 55% overall HP regen reduction. And overall, that just makes this item better, if anything. I can't imagine it. It would just make it better overall. So Spirit Vessel, what I note is that is an AoE reduction by 20%, but you can cast it on someone to get, you know, on the Morphlings and the Huskars, still to get 55% instead of 60. Big nerf though, right? So this is the big nerf of the item because I think it is somewhat of a buff, but it does not use Windlace now, and they up the recipe by 250, which is the Windlace cost. So you don't get movement speed, and you have to pay more. So obviously a bit of a nerf there. Moving ahead, Ring of Basilius was also nerfed by 25 gold, and Headdress cost was increased. Wow, that's crazy. Headdress was increased by 50, and the reason why I say that is crazy because, like, this item already got hard nerfed from 2.5 regen to 2 regen. Now it's 50 gold more. So do I expect people to buy this item? Maybe in tri-lanes, maybe Shen will still buy it, but Shen also got nerfed in this patch, so we'll have to see, but yeah, Ring of Bassi. I think people will definitely still buy Ring of Bassi. It just makes the items you can start with now a little bit different. Like, I don't think you can start with the branch that you would now, so bit of a nerf, definitely a nerf. The Soul Ring also nerfed a little bit. Was a popular item because Ring of Regen was pretty good build up, very cheap item right now, and now it's just 50 gold more. Vladimir's Offering, lifesteal reduced by 5%, and recipe cost increased by 50. Huge nerf to Vlad's. I think this item got nerfed also the previous patch. I believe it was increased by like 200 gold or something. So, or 250 almost. So Vlad's is quite a bit worse than what it is. Do I think people will still buy it? If you have a lot of right clickers, yes. I still think you will consider 20% lifesteal, 3 armor, and 1.5 mana regen. And the items buildup is still as good as ever, right? You still can buy a Buckler and a Bassi. Just, it's a bit more niche. Do I think Pango's still gonna buy it? Likely, yes. I also think Mars will still buy it, but this is pretty huge in terms of a nerf. That's big. Mech increased by 50 gold, Pipe increased by 200 gold, Lotus Orb mana cost increased by 25. I mean, I guess it could come into play. And then Silver Edge no longer reduces regen. Yeah, this makes sense. I felt like everyone was buying Silver Edge. This item's stats are great. 15 all stats, 45 damage, 30 attack speed. I mean, those are just fantastic stats. It also gave you the active, which not only broke people, it also reduced the regen. Pretty insane. It also obviously lets you go invis, which is another benefit that's pretty damn good. So it doesn't surprise me that this item got a small nerf. Now, Eye of Skadi. Wow, okay, that is bizarre. So it now slows and reduces all regen. So Skadi now is technically a counter, and it doesn't surprise me, by the way, guys, that this item got buffed, because no one was buying Skadi. At least, like, everyone, if you wanted a 5,500 gold item, you were basically buying Satanic. I feel like no one bought Skadi, it was just Satanic. Like, honestly, why would you buy a Skadi compared to Satanic? I don't think the items were even close. But now, this gives you a reason to against certain heroes. If you're against a lot of lifesteal, you can buy Skadi. If you're against a Morphling, or, you know, a Huskar, as I said before, you can buy the Skadi, and it reduces heals by 35%. Pretty cool. Nullifier debuff is no longer dispellable. I'm so happy they did this, because it was so confusing to me. You would nullify people so that, you know, they would get purged, but the problem was you would want to purge people from things like Yule's, right? Because you can dispel a Yule Scepter usually with a lot of other dispels, such as Oracle Q. Yes, you can dispel Yule's with Oracle Q. But the problem with Nullifier was that you'd want the dispel, but Yule's would purge it. So, like, it's bad. You know what I mean? This basically makes the item significantly better against Yule's carriers, such as Quaps and maybe Embers, Zeus's, etc. Nullifier now does counter them out, which I think is a super big deal. It also means you can't Lotus people to save them from Nullifier, which is a big deal, right, in the late game. So yeah, pretty huge buff to Nullifier. Do I think this makes it viable in certain games? 100%, yeah, I think so. Blade Mail Intelligence reduced from 10 to 8. Do I think people will still buy it? Absolutely. It's still a 2,000 gold item with a pretty solid active, and it's still on int heroes give you 36 damage, on other heroes 28. So like Embers and Void Spirits, 100% still gonna buy this item. Now getting to the hero changes, most notably, and no joke guys, Alchemist was very strong because he didn't get really affected by the 10% less gold. Of course he did. Of course he did, but not really because he has Grievel's Greed and he was just out farming everyone. I think the hero's win rate was going up as well. So now Grievel's Greed cap reduced by 2 at all level. Not terrible, not bad, right? Let's keep going. Grievel's Greed base gold bonus reduced from 4 to 3. So now like you start with only 3, which isn't obviously nearly as good. And Grievel's Greed bounty rune multiplier reduced by 0.5 at all levels. And that is most notable, obviously at level 1, you're getting 50% less gold. It already wasn't even that much. Now you only get, what, 60 gold per bounty? So you can get like max 240 gold. I remember the days when Alk would get like, I don't even know, it was some absurd amount. You get like 100 or 120 gold per bounty. Those were the days. But no, that is no longer the case. Do I think Alk is still viable? Yes, viable 100%. This hero is viable. The thing is now, you're just not nearly as fast as a farmer, but this had to happen because the hero was out of control. Moving on, we have Batrider, somehow still getting nerfed. After 8 years of getting nerfed, Batrider finds himself getting nerfed once again. I mean, Batrider, I don't know how you feel, man, but I feel for you. So Firefly, bonus reduced, is 3% less at max now, obviously going down 1 by level, which hurts him, of course. Bloodseeker, Thirst, better at level 1, worse at max. So it's part of the boost change apparently. So yeah, all I can really note about Thirst is that it's better early on, but basically once you hit level 2 it's the same and then becomes quite worse at max, being 4% less. Bounty Hunter, another hero that didn't get crushed by the 10% less gold, and so yeah, Track I think needed to get nerfed. Bounty Hunter had like a 52 or 53% win rate, so I did expect him to get nerfed. Brewmaster Primal Split permanent immolation damage increased. You know, you could ask me which one is permanent immolation. And, you know, I would answer with, I don't know. But yeah, for any Brewmaster player, if you want to put it in the comment section down below, that'd be great. Because, honestly, who plays this hero and knows what the spells are? I know that the wind one does damage and it puts people in the air and goes invis. And the fire one burns people. But I'm going to assume that this is the fire damage. So I'm taking a guess here. If I get this right, guys, you all have to buy a premium subscription to the gameleap website. Also, talking about the gameleap website, I recently did an advanced analysis with one of my top 15 friends where I coached him. Yeah, I straight up coached a top tier player, so the concepts I talk about are quite a bit different than what I would usually talk about with, you know, your average 2K, 3K player. Not completely different, of course. Still a lot of the same stuff because Dota, you know, you just scale up the fundamentals. That's how you generally get good. But there's a lot of really cool core concepts that I talk about with him. So if you're interested in that, I did an Ember and a Storm game with him. Click the link down below, mid lane coaching for a top tier player. And let me know what you guys think when you do check it out. But moving ahead, we have Broodmother. Spin web movement speed reduced from 25%. Why is this hero getting nerfed? Was Brood even good? I mean, it was getting picked a little bit at the major by teams that played it, such as I think Na'Vi was picking it and such. But yeah, 5% less at all levels. I mean, rest in peace, Brood. I'm assuming this is part of the boots change. It is. So the thing is, Brood wouldn't buy boots, so this is kind of just a nerf to Brood. Because it seems like what they're saying is boots are better early. I think that's what it means. Boots are just better. Maybe boots are just straight up better. You're gonna have to ask Purge if you want all the numbers. Chaos Knight, Phantasm cooldown reduced all the way down to 125 at all levels, which is huge. 20 seconds less in the early game basically can make him that much more active, right? It's gonna allow you to take that extra fight, which I definitely think can come into play. 20 seconds is a pretty big number in Dota. You know, 20 seconds passes by pretty slowly, I would say, in certain circumstances. So yeah, pretty big buff to Chaos Knight. Shen, 0.75 less regen at level 1. It scales all the way back up to 5, but that doesn't really matter because what you really liked about this spell was the fact that it gave you 2, obviously buffed by the amp as well. So this is pretty a massive nerf to Shen in the laning stage for sure. Do I think Shen is still good? Yeah, I think Shen is still pretty good. The only thing I would note is that more defined favors will be maxed now instead of penitence, because some people were actually maxing Shen Q even on support. Moving into Klings, his Searing Arrows deal 10 more damage at all levels now, but you cost 3 more mana at level 1. However, it scales all the way back to the same, so this is, in my opinion, just a buff to Klings. Like, maybe it hurts you slightly in the laning stage if you're spamming Searing Arrows, but realistically, I don't think this hurts you that much. So yeah, I'm gonna say this is pretty damn good for Klings, giving him 10 more damage at level 1. You know, that's what, technically a 50% increase, so pretty big buff, I'd say, for the mana. Death Prophet, here we go. I mean, of course this hero had to get nerfed. It's not huge though, what I would say. Like, is Death Prophet still good? Yes, absolutely. Base movement speed, down by 5. Okay, reverting the old change. However, they're gonna say it's part of the boots change. So technically not a nerf then. Same thing with the ultimate. Not really a nerf in this case. So I guess Valve feels like, or Ice Frog, feels like this hero isn't really that good, because the only real change, if they're saying this is part of the boots change, so it's not really much of a nerf, then what this means is that the only nerf is that her ultimate is 50 more mana. Can it come into play? Sure, it could. Could make you not get off that extra Spirit Siphon, which could save you. So, you know, does this matter? Yes, but not really. So, is Death Prophet still hella good? Yes. Definitely, I would say this is a very safe pick to have just a solid hero that does well in basically every single Dota match. Dragonite, 0.2 less strength, gain. 2 less strength, gain, which is not too good. And then his Elder Dragonform Scepter no longer increases attack range, which is a pretty big deal, so I don't think you'll buy the Scepter anymore, to be honest. It still gives you, well, the chat's bug. They didn't get rid of the bonus attack range, but it was 350. So what I would say is, I see it highly unlikely that people are going to buy Ags without this anymore. So yeah, just you still can play DK. I still think this hero is very good. In fact, one of the stronger mids right now, if you have a decent matchup. All I'm going to say is just, I wouldn't buy the Ags anymore. I think this is too big of a nerf. Drow Ranger, 2 more armor. Okay. That makes Drow a much better laner, and she scales okay, so maybe this makes Drow somewhat viable? Don't know. Ember Spirit was getting picked as a position 4, a mid laner, a safe laner. He had to get a nerf. He was getting picked in every single role, and Chains was being leveled like crazy, basically because Chains was a 11-second cooldown for 80 mana. Yes, Chains is 80 mana and 11-second cooldown, so people were just spamming it. Spam, spam, spam. You'd hit level 2 and you spam, spam, spam more. And so yeah, this is a huge nerf to Searing Chains, because the main thing that you can note about Searing Chains is that your W, right, Sleight of Fist is a 6-second cooldown on max, and Chains being only 8 would basically mean that you could spam this over and over and over again, but now you have to wait 2 seconds longer. And you guys might be like, well, this doesn't matter. If you think this change doesn't matter, it means you're bad at Ember. Like, I'm serious. It means you're not using Searing Chains off cooldown, which is generally what you're trying to do with this hero in teamfights. So yeah, if you think this doesn't matter, it really, really does. Keeper of the Light, Blinding Light increased by 6 seconds at level 1. Pretty bad for the hero. However, it scales all the way down. Big nerf to the landing stage though. Coddle, I would say, scales well still, but this is a big nerf to his landing stage. On top of that, Will-O-Wisp, 10 seconds longer. So do I think Coddle is still viable? Viable, yes. This is pretty big though. 10 seconds cooldown could make you lose a fight, and Blinding Light being 6 seconds less in the landing stage definitely could get you killed, or not let you grief the enemies as hard in terms of CS. Leshrac. Leshrac is a hero that is very, very scary for Valve to buff, in my opinion, because this hero is always a bit better at the top tier of Dota than it is in low MR pubs. The reason I say that is because using Leshrac's stun and W and even getting in close range on a low HP hero is quite difficult for, I would say, people who don't understand positioning and target priority and like how much damage everyone does and keeping track of spell cooldowns. So I think they're a bit afraid to buff Lesh, even though its win rate was like 45% on, according to Dota buff. It was one of the lowest in Dota, like down there with Grimstroke, even though both of these heroes are good. And that's what I'm talking about. Grimstroke and Leshrac are quite a bit better in high tier pubs. It's still a good buff though. At level 1 it's the same, but at level 2 it's 10 more damage. Max it's 20, which matters. You know, it's AoE damage, so it adds up pretty quickly. Lone Druid, level 25 talent. I mean, okay, sure, I guess. Like, are they trying to make people be like, oh, Lone Druid's good, pay attention? Because really, a 25 talent, is that going to change anything? 0.5 Spirit Bearer attack time less? I don't know. Luna, attack animation improved by 0.9. And this is pretty good because it makes her last hitting much better. Night Stalker, 5 less movement speed, but that is the boots change. Same thing with Ogre Magi, part of the boots change, 1% less of all bloodlust, but apparently it doesn't matter. OD, I mean, I think this hero is pretty hot trash for the most part. I guess it could be okay in certain matchups, like very specific matchups still, in certain games against certain heroes, like Morphling and Temper, etc. But 1% more arcane orb damage, I mean, yeah, it matters because it's percentage based, so it adds up. But do I think this makes the hero good enough? I don't think so. Phoenix, massive Phoenix nerfs. Fire Spirit's cooldown increased from 45 to 51 at level 1. Like, that's still okay though, you know what I mean? The 6 seconds matters in the laning stage for sure, similar to the Coddle one. Definitely can make you lose a kill or be, you know, worse at trading, for sure. Especially if, once again, you're good at Phoenix and you're using them as much as possible, this hurts you. But it does scale down all the way down to 30, which is not too bad, right? Definitely not too bad. However, the biggest nerf I see here is this Supernova Scepter upgrade no longer allows you to cast Sunray. And it was pretty nuts how much damage you did with the axe. Like, being able to Sunray within the Supernova was just absurd. You did an unbelievable amount of AoE damage. And if anyone got stuck in it, like, oh my god, they're just dead. They're literally dead. They're just 100% dead. So it doesn't surprise me that they got rid of this. Now I'm just going to say that people are going to buy the eggs far less, maybe not at all anymore. Like, it lets you put people still in the egg, which can be okay, but like, the best part was the Sunray by far, in my opinion. So yeah, just maybe Phoenix will just buy Veils and Spirit Vessel, and Spirit Vessel Phoenix seems fantastic because you have the AoE reduction and the egg now, which is going to be a lot of damage and reduction. So add a Pugna Decrep cast range from 700 to 400, 500, 600, 700. Huge nerf. I mean, holy, what a huge nerf this is. This 300 less cast range at level 1 definitely matters. It's going to make it very hard to use in the laning stage properly. Like, you're going to have to overextend to use the Decrep. I mean, 300 is a huge number. So big Pugna nerf there, and Nether Ward. Like, okay, what I'm going to say about Pugna now is that people are definitely not going to level Nether Ward at level 1, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to do it, unless you were 100% sure you're against some, like, SF who's going to raise down a creep wave 3 times, and you could catch him with it, then it's okay. But, yeah, this is a big nerf to Nether Ward. Doesn't really shock me, though. This hero was super popular. But, yeah, you have to max Decrep now, and I think you skip Nether Ward till later on. Maybe you leave your Q at 2 points, but you definitely have to max the Decrep first now, in my opinion. I definitely believe that. You 100%. and Nether Ward, I don't know. I think you might leave your Q at 2 points, but there's probably going to be a lot more of Pugna's just skipping the E again. Maybe 1 value point still for team fights. Razor, base movement speed reduced. Okay, that's just a boots change. Storm Surge, boots change. Slardar, boots change, boots change. It's the boots change patch, everybody. Same thing with Spirit Breaker. Part of the boots change, haha. But the thing is, doesn't this make them worse until they get boots? Right? Like, unless I missed something, right? It's not like everyone just got movement speed. So all these heroes that get reduced movement speed are worse until they get boots, which is a nerf, right? Like, it's a nerf for the early game, which definitely hurts a hero like Razor and Spirit Breaker. I mean, it's Bulldoze, so it's not that big of a deal, but like, Slaughter kind of stinks, right? Could be the difference. But moving on, we have Void Spirit. His level 10 talent is 5 damage less. Matters for sure, because it makes you farm quite a bit slower. It's 10 overall damage if you hit them with 2 Astral Steps. So like, matters quite a bit, but you're still gonna take this talent in my opinion, for sure. It's so much damage. Like, you're still getting 50 overall damage on your swing throughs, so pretty big deal. And then finally, a Wraith King nerf. Hero was still a 55% win rate in pubs, so yeah, kinda needed to get nerfed, it kinda needed it. Vampiric Aura damage reduced from 6, 12, 18, 24 to 4, 10, 16, 22, so just 2 less at all levels. Does this matter? Of course. It makes him have 8 damage, because remember guys, it gets doubled, right? So it's not just 2, it's actually 4. I'm sorry, it doesn't get doubled. You get 50% more, so you would get 9 damage at level 1. Now you only get 6, which is 3 less damage at level 1. So yeah, pretty big deal to Wraith King. Does this cut him out of the meta? No, I would say he's going to be around a 54% win rate hero instead of 55, but that's my guess. Thank you guys for watching this analysis on 7.26a. I mean, holy, what a cool patch. I would say I like a lot of the changes, definitely balancing out the meta heroes. Once again, slowing down Dota, because is there a lot of buffs in here? I would say no. I would say there's almost no buffs in here. Besides, like, the only notable buffs I see are Brewmaster. What else? CK got a big one. Klink's got a slight one. Drow 2 armor. Probably, like, funny enough, I think this Drow getting 2 armor is the biggest buff of the patch. Maybe you guys could agree with me. Let me know what you think the biggest buff of the patch is. Maybe it's Spirit Vessel. Like, the AoE, it seems pretty good. It really does. The only thing that I could see being a downside is, like, let's say you get off your Spirit Vessel charge and you die with the aura, then, you know, they don't get reduced as much, which could come into play. And, yeah, I'm gonna say that's all for the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed and learned anything, like and subscribe. Because, you know, I like when people like and subscribe, and that's why it's called a like, because I like it. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and peace. And hey guys, remember, before you end this video, in the link down below, I've been playing a lot of live games where I talk about my thoughts in real time in the middle of a Dota match. So if you want to get in the head of a pro player, click the link down below to the gameleap website. Super cheap right now, right? Like, and I'm doing this a ton. We all have time on our hands. I have time to make content. You guys probably have time to enjoy and learn Dota, get better at the game. So yeah, if that combo works for you, click the link down below, and I'll see you there.